bias media mainstream, clock the hypocrisy, now I mean. Reiterate that they hate the white man, didn't drink the Kool-Aid, now I'm Uncle Sam. Mexico tax violence, okay, somehow cartels are here to stay. Hollow Knight nerfs in time for tourists, normie attention, disrupt the purists. Physical games cause violence, says President. We hold these lies to be self-evident. Dragon Ball just now removed from shelves, down to the next layer of hell we delve. Body type 1 and body type 2, says a sissy developer covered in poo. Body type A and body type B means from me you get no money. Sexy's harmless for male and female, hetero hate this industry derail. Can't give a fuck, cause your game sucks. Activist cuck, with your dick tucked. Yotei, I could never play. Pokemon patents primed to dismember. If after direct fanboys remember, dev cheers for the death of conversation. Blue Sky users roleplay menstruation. 14 seeming like a mighty big number. I think new Kirks stir from their slumber. Hello, beta testers. Like, comment, and subscribe to see if you're capable of defying YouTube's rampant unsubscriptions. Online, you can earn a target on your back for the wrong opinions about movies, TV shows, comic books, but if you spoke the way entities on TikTok did, it would be no longer all according to plan, and the journey to this discovery among young men has them taking a turn at a fork in the road, you could say. A person was eradicated for their opinions, and a number of men, typically unfazed by emotion, were deeply moved yesterday. Why? I'll tell you, and if it brings you any understanding in how you may feel, donate to my Streamlabs so I can detach and review this mostly negative Borderlands game. The reason I was shaken and stirred was simple. Whether you call it radicalization or education, I could sense many people reaching my level yesterday, and it might as well be considered a level of hell. The ground gave way underneath them, and even if they could get back up, what would be the point? I don't respect entity enough for conversation. I wouldn't dignify entity with a response. They are incapable of listening to themselves, so how can I respect them enough to try listening? They're uncomfortable with the very sight of who and what they naturally are without filter, surgery, medication, and the delusional reinforcement from liars they rub elbows with. So, clocking how eager they were to deceive impressionable young minds specifically into their fold, their cult, when invited to prove Charlie Kirk wrong, as he bravely, against reason, sought to engage entity in a public forum in civil discussion, was gunned down for a disagreement. With a firm understanding of the risk he was taking, this martyr sacrificed to gift reactions of the inclusive and tolerant theater kids who've excluded anyone who disagrees with them from humanity. I've watched the othering and the hatred for male, straight, and white make hormonal nut jobs screech over a person's choice, their right to mod a game or to play a game with a wizard in it, and I've long reached the conclusion that these entities are not worth your time because of the radical among they-them refusing civility and their bloodlust and arousal for particularly the youngest minds whom they wish to queer up. I can say that I felt yesterday because the spirit of conversation caught astray. This guy came up in conversation among young people in the wrong camps, of the wrong creed, of the wrong age groups, and the united sentiment among people who haven't been mentally dicked down by TikTok's CP algorithm was that he didn't deserve to die. But that is not a sentiment shared, as we can see, among even developers in my gaming space, as Sony's Sucker Punch Ghost of Yotei developer seems to need to celebrate. without even the ability to come up with anything witty. They're just ejaculated. They're so, I'm so excited to say something. They couldn't even craft a joke proper, but why would they need to? All their buddies agree. If you've done any of this telling the truth online shit, you've realized that what they say is often so stupid that we would want to signal boost that, because it's a detriment that they don't understand, because like I said, they don't listen to themselves, and we're all ending up on the same page. But not only would we, or maybe the person you saw gunned down, be willing to have this dialogue, to have a conversation, but they just want to silence you. They want to erase what you've put out, filter it, censor it. Oh, it's too offensive. Get your account banned, get you deplatformed. These development studios that I always bring up end up having me instantly cite Rachel Zegler, because you'd have to be up your ass to dismiss the slave work of others in the studio simply doing their job and keeping their head down, which is to say not being controversial online, drawing attention to they, themselves, or everyone else's sake. Since, it might affect sales, but never, ever have we ever seen the loudmouth cocksuckers not be part of this alphabet cult. They're all, as we might be now, on the same page. You may not have received personal visits yet or been blocked by people who, to you, you're like a literal who. It must be a list they passing around, right? But you're going to find out one day that for simply telling the truth, you are on their list. Because as I've been saying, if you telling the truth interferes with the deception they've built their entire livelihood around, you might as well be issuing an unspoken death threat. And they're no different to you than like a savage on an island that we should stay off of might be. They thought they lost young men before, but the resounding question when Martyr was assassinated is, what did he say that pissed people off on this level that dancing and all of this shit is going down online? And if the answer they can't find is satisfactory enough, men will be lost, having developed an intimate understanding of whom they are dealing with. The thing some of them fear the most is upon them: exclusion. They may not be personally wanting to end anybody, or so they say, but they would cheer if someone else did it. And they've been molded and conditioned for over a decade to crave, expect, and hope for it. So again, donate to my Streamlabs, because I don't want to be in this, and I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop scrolling because I'm seeing how some people are genuinely affected by this, seeing how some people are saying, hey, this is it for me, this is my stop. I wanted an escape, and the DEI garbage on a like at a glance, down to how they designed the characters, just popped me out of my escape. I'm not allowed that. You're not allowed an escape, because of the inclusive hands that got involved with making sure that your thing is ugly, because it must match them inside and out. I don't think they've ever managed attention like this before, and now that they have it, disgust and what some call fatigue is going to reach an all-time high. I think they will lead some men to finding the sense in the midst of the obnoxious and unnatural noise. And when they find that sense, it'll be like music to their ears, and they'll harmonize. They will not chimp out. They won't lose their minds. They'll coordinate. They'll contribute to the people that they believe in, and they will use you aggressive, useful idiots as the tools. You will never ever be more than, to illustrate whom they're dealing with to other people who have not yet met us on this page based on how you're reacting right now. Meeting you at your level is just too gay. It's just too playing in the muck. I think they're bigger than that. And I'm so glad for what we're seeing, because it is educational. I don't think there's trust anymore. I don't think they're permitting you doubt's benefit. I don't think there's going to be kindness here, because that opportunity was squandered. And now that the guy that invited you to prove him wrong is dead, you may have proved the worst people in the world right, who warned him, who warned you and who will be inspiring you to warn others because of how they react. They proud, they happy, they're gloating, they're dancing, they're feeling justified to be so wounded by someone's words. A man braver than they'll ever be for meeting people for the thing that he proved you incapable of. A dialogue. A man who is uniting people across aisles, opting out of tribalism, and a man greater for the conversation among people intelligent enough to entertain it, even if they disagree. Big boobs in a video game, big problematic, but those predators grooming, that's something that needs to be defended. So the apolitical people around us are truly getting a little tuned in to what's going on. What's funny is I feel like so much of this could have been avoided if these activist journalists and mainstream media were just a little less violent. But they want people just as angry, so I'm glad everyone gets what they want. Nintendo isn't as many years away from forbidding people to even stream their games as they would like us to forget. But this is the precise reason I don't mess with them. And recently they are acquiring a patent to retroactively just claim a bunch of systems that existed before them, for the most part, as it pertains to their Pokemon game. The patent is for summoning a character to fight another. The patent does not require the summoned character to be a monster. It can be any secondary entity. It doesn't require the battle to immediately begin. Even summoning a helper before combat could count. It applies to PC, console, and mobile games in the US, and it sounds insane because, games including but not limited to Shin Megami Tensei and Dragon Quest might have been regarded as the inspiration for these sorts of systems, and you're thinking of summons, you're probably thinking of Final Fantasy if you're old enough to remember Square Soft instead of Square Enix, but games that I'm excited about, like Dokev, Azure Promelia, to a lesser extent this Anemo game, and is it Anima? I don't fucking know, man. There's a new Hoyoverse game coming out that's the combat in that looks stupid, but again, times have changed since the 90s when Pokemania infected a lot of these people, and I'm not gonna lie, I recognize MiHoYo as having the stronger, scarier fan base, and I'm not dismissing Nintendo's stranglehold on some of those fanboys, but I don't know, man. It feels like as we travel into the future, following the Nintendo Switch 2, if you're gonna see a lot more political injections than just the Digimon and a Daemon game, man. Culture of gaming is so much richer and deeper than a dark chocolate pussy. And these activists are rightfully getting flushed down the toilet, but not fast enough. There may be a strong desire to leave the bathroom before you make sure that none of these sewage fucking snake wriggling poops just pop back up to the surface. So many opportunist losers seeking to demonize anything that'll get them attention and cry offensive until everything is censored and sanitized, and they'll keep plopping up to the surface of that water, man. Somehow that poop floating, but Nintendo is so triggered by Power World that they're out here trying to oh boy. So with some sales data on PlayStation that recently came to light, you're forced to recognize that a lot of autopilot purchases are going on, with Call of Duty just dominating, and I'm afraid I'm forced to reaffirm how excited I am that EA launching their Fortnite creative mode-esque skate game in early access with its planned loot boxes has me excited to see what they're going to be getting away with in gaming next, because again, people are buying the Call of Duties, people are still engaging with your Destinies and your Overwatches, I'm sure some are still in Diablo, and these are the kind of lowest common denominator Sims entities that they're going to pay some influencers for to secure in that bag, and if they keep them paying the way that they do with the other EA sports games, then they'll be all right. Whispers indicate that they could also be coming to the sexy jiggly waifu Marvel rivals, the loot boxes I mean. The hero shooter, I remind everyone, that shattered expectations, captivating the world in an era where Concord defenders would tell you hero shooters cannot succeed in a saturated market, or maybe it's just you. and whatever unpopular foolishness that you people spend a decade in a fucking cave developing for everybody to hate. Well, actually, to circle back to that Nintendo patent thing, you know, that's nasty work. 1980s is when some of them games were appearing that had this system, but I'm not saying that it would hold up in court. I think I said this yesterday, necessarily, but is it likely to put the fear of God into other smaller kind of creators that are going to be trying to make something in that space? Yes, and when you have as much money as Nintendo does, you know, you could just bleed anybody dry legally for as long as it takes if that's what they were trying to do. Make no mistake, Nintendo is corrupt in this regard. If they see something competitive that's doing too well, they will put the boots to it medium style. And the only truly funny irony of Nintendo going into legal combat with anybody that's competing with them in a Pokemon space is specifically that Nintendo would burn 1,000 times more money fighting a competitor than investing that into making a better game, because they don't give a fuck. Hopefully EA afforded all the best shills to glaze that skate game, and I'm seeing that a lot of people, or a reasonable amount in my opinion, signed on to Randy Pitchford's wild ride. Those reviews are terrible, but with you donating to me, I'll be able to get in there and grant you a heterosexual view of what they're trying to charge you for these days. It's been a pleasure to speak to you, and it was wonderful seeing some of you yesterday, but odds are YouTube's not going to be notifying you properly about a damn thing. So, jump into the Discord, follow me on Twitter, and recognize that you are how the future takes a better shape. Love ya, and I'll talk to you soon. What are you excited about? I bet you want me streaming this ridiculous direct tomorrow, don't you? I shouldn't even be putting this out this late, but the fact that I'm still recording it when it should be editing right now is like part of the problem. What a jackass.